All right, number 15, use the figure below to answer the questions. As we look at this, we have a rectangular prism, it looks like. So name a segment that is skew. We want something that is skew to CD. So here's segment CD. So skew are going to be two lines that don't touch but also are not parallel. So if I were to extend this line segment, you notice they touch, so it can't be BC or AD. I'm going to have a couple different answers here. So if I were to draw segment BF, if you notice BF doesn't touch CD and it also is not parallel because it's not going in the same direction. Same with AE. Doesn't touch CD, goes in a different direction. Also, FG doesn't touch CD, goes in a different direction. Also, EH doesn't touch CD, goes in a different direction. So that's what skew means. They're not going to touch, going to go in a different direction. So it looks like we have 4 possible answers here. So since it just says name a segment, I'm just going to give 1. So let's say segment EH. All right, let's look at the next example. It says name a segment that is parallel to BF. So we have BF right here. And so parallel are going to be going in the same direction. They don't touch but go in the same direction. So AE goes in the same direction but doesn't touch. DH is going in the same direction, not touching. CG is going in the same direction, not touching. Now, if we were to say GH isn't going to touch BF, but now it's going in a different direction, and so that would be skew. So we have these 3 possible answers. So I'm going to go ahead and just say segment AE. And the last one, name a segment that is perpendicular to GH. So here's GH. So to be perpendicular, they're going to have to touch, and when they touch, they're going to have to make 90 degrees. So EH would be 90 degrees. FG would have to be 90 degrees. DH would also touch GH and make a 90-degree angle. Same with CG. So in this one I have 4 possible answers, and we'll go with the first one, segment EH. All right, we're going to go out of order. So let's look at number 18 now. It says solve for X. So as you look at this, you should see we have a triangle, and we learn that the inside angles of a triangle will always add up to 180. So you might be tempted to come over here and write X, but since I already have an X here, I'm actually going to call this one Y. So that tells me I can now write 50 plus 55 plus Y equals 180. So that gives me 105 plus Y equals 180. Now we minus 105 from both sides. And so now we know that Y is equal to 75. So now we know that this angle right here is 75 degrees. Now the reason we want to know that is because now these 2 angles, this angle and this outside angle, they form a linear pair, And so now we know that this plus the 3x plus 5, or 3x plus 15, will equal 180. So we can go ahead and write that. 75 plus 3x plus 15 equals 180. So now we can solve it. We can combine our 75 and 15. And so there's nothing to combine 3x with, so that's going to give us 90. Now we solve. We minus 90 from both sides. And this goes away, so we get 3x equals 90. Divide both sides by 3. And x equals 30. So just double check. The directions say solve for x. So now that we found what x is, x equals 30. For number 19, we have triangle GLA. Find the value of x. So as you look at the picture, we have this side congruent to this side, but also this side. So when we have a triangle with 3 congruent sides, it means it's an equilateral triangle. Since it's equilateral, we now know what the angles are. So that means that this angle, and this angle are all going to be the same. And if they're the same angle and they add up to 180, that means each angle is actually 60 degrees. So that just means we can just take a little shortcut and just write 2x minus 4 is equal to 60 and solve that. So we add 4. And we get 2x equals 64. Divide both sides by 2. And that gives us x equals 32. All right, 21, using the figure below, find the length of ES, given that triangle BAV is congruent to triangle RES. So since it tells us that these two triangles are congruent, that means that the corresponding parts of the triangles are congruent. So we have BA, segment BA is going to be congruent to RE. Means that segment AV is going to be congruent to segment ES. And then the last one, BV, is going to be congruent to RS. And the reason I want to know that is because now it says BA is equal to 4x plus 2. So we can put the 4x plus 2 here. It says RE is equal to 5x minus 6. AV is equal to 10x plus 4. And we want to find ES. So we want to know what this length is. So since these two sides of the triangle are going to be the same, we're going to want to write 4x plus 2 is equal to 5x minus 6. And we only want to work with these two because we know that this side is congruent to this side. I don't need the 10x plus 4 right now. So now we can go ahead and solve that. So let's go ahead and minus 4x from both sides. So this goes away and I get 2 equals x minus 6. Move the 6 over. And I get 8 equals x, or x equals 8. Now that I know what x is, I'll be able to put the x in here, figure out what AV is, and since AV and ES are the same, by finding what AV is, I found what ES is. So let's go ahead and take the X and plug it in to what AV is. So we have 10 times 8 plus 4. So we get 80 plus 4, or 84. So that means that segment ES is going to equal 84.